Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to
Hi.
the channel. Hi, Eugene.
Good, good. I'm still here.
Yeah, we are moving along with your life lessons from your book, Wake Up, Grow Up, Stop It. We at lesson three, and the lesson today is number three, which is words and actions on children have major impacts on them as adults.
And that's true. So we're told we're silly, we're naughty, we're ugly, we don't count. It goes on and on and on, and we operate from that when we're big.
Absolutely.
And for most of our life, we go back to that fundamental life operating principle. I don't count.
Yeah. It's quite a big thing. I mean, we grow up and we buy into, well, we don't buy into it. We get taught
Mm.
these belief systems, these ideas that become that core operating system. And what type of impact do you know that it has on
Sure,
adults?
all the time. All the time, people are not good enough. They don't count. They've got no self-esteem, even when they're 80 and leaving. Um, I think it's subconscious. It's not done consciously. But certainly, if you start talking to them, they're not good enough for this world. Everybody else is better. Everybody else says better things, does better things, dresses better, goes on and on and on and on.
Yes,
So until we
absolutely.
learn to drop that, life is hard.
And then we also get into those patterns of alcohol, drugs,
Yep.
just being nasty. There's 101 patterns that come out
Yeah.
from those beliefs, right?
Because we put a layer of cement on all of that. That's the sad thing.
Yeah. And when you got that layer of cement, how do you get rid of it?
Well, I just want to tell you that I think with old people, a great deal of old people have never told themselves the truth. So how do you tell other people the truth? For me, you've got to be authentic. You
Mm.
know, if you ask me something, I'll tell you. I don't care what you think about me. That's long past. I did that when I was 20.
Yes.
But now that I'm older, it doesn't matter what you think. So how do we get rid of those layers? Well, we have to look within. I mean, there's no other way to do it. You have to look and realize. I mean, people are still saying to me, my mother loved my brother better than me. I mean, that's not true. Parents love you. Some kids are easier to love than others.
Yeah, but they
You know,
still love you.
they
It's your
absolutely, they
child.
love you. Yes. So the fact that your brother seemed to get more than what you did, I mean, that's actually history. Okay. Your poor mother and your poor father, they did the best they could with what they had.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
And they were also not taught, there's no handbook.
No.
So they believed certain things that were passed down from them, and then it just gets
Yep.
worse and worse as goes down the line.
For me, it's very sad to see, when you're 20 and 30, I can still accept that. But when you're getting on to 70 and 80, I mean, really, please just stop that because,
So can a old dog learn new
yeah,
tricks?
I think they can. I think they've got to want to. And when they realize that they are good enough, the neighbor actually likes them. We're stuck. We're so stuck. And I don't know how many more millions of years we'll be stuck for. We're nuts, all of us. We don't have to be.
Yeah, definitely. I
So,
I think that it's really as you get older, it does become a little bit more challenging to face some of those really ingrained belief systems.
I guess because you've never, in fact, you've lied to others about them because you haven't told the truth. So if you gave a baby away for adoption way back then and you've never told a single soul, now what do you do with that when you're 80?
Yeah.
So it becomes a huge problem. And in my generation, I mean, babies were given away. Where I did midwifery, the mother sometimes didn't even see the baby. It was just given away, taken away from her. She didn't know what sex it was. And 2 days later, the Anglican church from Bloemfontein or the NG church from Pretoria would arrive and take the baby away. So she went away for a couple of days or for a couple of months, hid under the bed, had the baby, and went back out into the world.
Mm.
So my age group people have got many of those pains.
Yeah.
So they cover up. And what people say to you when you're a kid is very, very important. Really, I mean, the nun shouting at me at school. My dog didn't have a soul. It died during the night. The nun told me to stop crying because the dog didn't have a soul. Now, I remember that for years afterwards. Do dogs have souls? Do animals have souls? Took me a long time to realize that we talk crap.
Because we all have souls
We're all part of this universe, the
and
whole lot of
we all
us.
one, exactly.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter if what you believe, it's ultimately
And in my
heal.
generation, I mean, we didn't, like, there were certain words we didn't use. Prostitute, I'd never heard. So when my textbook at school spoke about a prostitute and I wanted to know who it was, I mean, that teacher shouted at me and chucked me out onto the veranda. I was never normal again, okay? So yes, I mean, that stuck in my head for a long, long time.
Hmm. How do we get to the realizations of these belief systems? How do we notice them? How can we
Oh,
find it?
dear.
I know in my work, people come to me and they find out, why am I stuck? Why am I blocked? How can I move forward? But if you don't have someone, is it possible?
Oh, I don't. You've lied to yourself and your best friends your whole life. So I don't know how you go about doing it. You'd have to find somebody like me. I mean, I'm a nurse at the retirement village, so they can talk to me rather than talk to the friends next door.
Yes.
So it's easier for them to spill their beans, and some of them do, and they make great progress. They might not tell anybody else, but at least it's out of them. But they've spent a whole lifetime being worried about what people have said to them or done to them or what they've done and haven't told the truth about.
Yeah.
So for me, you gotta be authentic.
And it's extremely liberating, just freeing
Yes,
yourself from all
absolutely,
that burden that's going on inside.
absolutely.
You know, you don't always need to get absolution, but I'm just
No,
saying, get
you
it
are free.
out. Get it
Once it's
out.
out, you are free. You can leave the parcel over there and go. You can go back and have a look at it when you want to, but you don't
Yes.
have to carry it on your back.
Yeah. Lots of people walking around with huge guilt,
Yeah.
lots of baggage.
Yes, that reminds me way back to a long, long time ago. I did Christian counseling at Rao, and a guy called Larry Crabb came out here. I don't know if I've told you this, have I?
No,
So I went to go and listen to him talk. There were many speakers at the thing, and I don't know what a guy's called that plays piano and makes a ditty up of what the speaker's spoken about. Anyway, he gave a very good talk, and then this guy got up and played his piano, and he sang about a guy. I got out of bed this morning, and I had this heavy backpack on my back, and I couldn't walk to the door. And eventually, I decided I was going to go to the airport and get it sent away. So he stood in the long queue, got to the end of the queue, and said to the lady, "I want this bag to go to the furthest place." And he said, "But where are you going?" So he said, "No, I'm going home. You're going to send the bag." She said, "No,
uh,
I'm not. Bag can't. You've got to go with your bag. You must go to the next counter." So he
yeah.
went to the next counter, tried the same thing, same thing. Eventually, the third counter he got to, the guy said, "You see that man over there? He deals with this type of stuff. You go over there and speak to him." And the guy went over there, and the guy said to him, "So where's this bag going?" He said, "I don't know, but the furthest destination away from me." The guy came around the counter and took him into the corner of the airport, and they sat down and packed the bag. So there was guilt, there was blame, there was shame, there was regret, resentment, all those things. And eventually he left the airport singing loudly because he had a little backpack on his back with two little things in it. So we have to leave that behind us, because how do you do that? It's practice.
But it's so much easier sending it away
Much easier.
to the furthest place
Much,
possible.
much easier until you go to bed that night and it's still
And then
there.
it's still there. Somewhere along the
Yeah.
line, you got to deal with it. You got to face it.
Yep.
And the minute you just acknowledge it, face it, deal with
Yes.
it,
Yes.
then you have this thing called liberation.
And you can help others by doing that, because when other
Mm,
people realize what you're doing, they will follow suit.
very,
They'll realize that it's okay.
very powerful.
Oh,
That's part of that. We become the change we want to see in the world
yes.
type of
And
thing.
those wounds help others if we are honest about them. If we're not honest, we're in trouble.
We are indeed. So, yeah, the lesson, look at those patterns, find them, speak to someone, get
Yes.
help. Just
Yes.
speak to anyone, get it out. Drop the blame, drop the guilt, drop
So do you think the
the.
Catholics at confession managed to do that?
I think that's what confession was
I think it
ultimately
was.
about.
Yeah.
It was about getting all this stuff out and
Yeah.
speaking to someone in a safe environment so
Yeah.
that you won't feel judged.
So it was a good idea.
It was a good idea. I
Mm.
think it still is a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know how,
Yeah. I wonder what happens today.
yeah, what happens today. But certainly getting it out was a good idea.
Yes.
And coming clean, just coming clean with God,
And
asking for
and
forgiveness.
realizing that every single person's got the same story out there, just a different way. It's not one of us
It's,
are exempt from that.
it's always the same
Yeah.
patterns, the same stories, just
Yeah.
repeated with different people in different scenarios.
That's why it's good to get it out, because the other person will learn.
Yeah,
Yeah. You think your stuff is so bad until you hear somebody else's.
absolutely. Or,
Yep.
just hearing someone else's and you resonate with that and you realize, oh, okay, there is hope that they
Yes.
got through it. I can
Yes.
get through it.
Absolutely.
So that's also quite powerful.
Yep. Very.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Jean.
Okay. Thank you. And
Until
thanks,
next time,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.